Hello there. My name is Daryl King. I am Mishra from Server 9, part of the Needs of the Many NoTM Alliance. And what I want to talk about today is I'm going to show you what you can get with the new Enterprise E Picard and Enterprise E data officers from the current arc. This is being recorded Thanksgiving weekend 2023. And having just unlocked both of those officers, I've been playing around with them, and I got some interesting things to show you. It's an excellent officer for the collecting of loot, and we're going to begin by going over to space where we normally have Voyager, looking for the oddball summoning of hostiles, and I'll see you there in just a moment. Let's see what this does. $568. We got 6590 down here in the cargo hold. 8180. Do the math. That's almost 3 times as much as what we had on the ship. Starting off with 8180. And when we're ready to $567. Did I say 9767? It did, 9767. Pull the calculator here. 9767 minus 8180. 1587. That's from 567, which was on the ship originally. $567 divided by equals. Okay, that's not what I'm looking for. Oh, I know what I'm doing. $2.8. It's 2.8 times as much as what was on there. In other words, that's 180% increase in loot. So who's on the ship? Captain's prerogative, 100% of hostiles. We have here Borg Jayla, 5 of 11, another 60%. That's 160. And down here, Renaissance Man. That's going to be Voyager Doctor. That's another 20%. So that's 180%. So that works out just about right. Our calculator showed an extra 2.8 times what was originally on the boat. Obviously, you expect the original 567, but you get 1.8 times extra with that particular crew. Now, we're losing the mitigation benefit that you normally get from 511 by not putting her in as captain. But I believe the fact that you get the extra loot makes up for that. And again, I can repair this all day long. I can go back. I've got plenty of materials up here. I got 2.6 trillion of the trit. I've got 1.62 billion of the Lithium, I can repair this thing all day long. I'm not worried about having to do repairs. What I'm concerned about is having how much loot can I get for 500 of these canisters. Now the other question becomes, Neelix gives us a 40% discount on the cost of these summonings. However, I'm getting an extra 40% by putting data in there as my sidecar for Picard for the extra synergy. So if I'm losing 40% in cost efficiency, but I'm getting extra 40% loot, that sounds like a wash. I don't know if there's any real benefit for that. We're up to 11,045K. So that's that benefit right there. And again, I'll probably run out of hull health before I run out of these canisters. But again, I can go back and repair. Now let's take a look at another example. Alright, so let's take a closer look at the officers involved here. Now what I'm going to do here real quick, I'm going to take card off for a second. Go to officers. Scroll on down. And let's see. Find card. Alright, base level. Captain's prerogative. 60% of base. Now the irony is that that's the same level that I get from Jayla, Borg Jayla, at tier 3. This is level 5, tier 1. Now it's a captain's maneuver, so it's not going to get any higher than this, but it will benefit from synergy. And data gives an extra 40%. Go back and the system will pick up the speed. Like that will clean everything. Silly. There it is. 40% synergy. That makes this captain's prerogative after we confirmed it 100%. Borg Jayla here gives us the mitigation there. We increase the amount of resources that we see from the hostiles by 60%. Now what's interesting is that Picard specifically states rewards from hostiles and armadas. So if you hit an armada, you get a bonus of your loot from there. So this could be a very good armada crew if you're going to try and collect loot from an armada. Ah. The Doctor is also another loot. He's at tier 2, and he gets 20%. And finally, let's see if we can click on group. Let's pull this guy up. Put him below deck. Galinar, I guess that's how his name is pronounced. For nanoprobes and actium venom, it's another 10%. And this will scale up as he's leveled up, as will the Doctor's ability. This ability here eventually reaches 50% at max level. The doctor's ability also goes up to 50% when maxed out. Jayla will go up to 100%, and this combination here will stay at 100%. Obviously, it wouldn't make much sense to wait on another synergy officer for Picard and put them there, because that would just be another 40%, unless only because I got Jayla at 60. If you don't have Borg Jayla, Picard plus Data plus another officer would be really nice. What would be really nice is if we get another officer for synergy that actually provides mitigation. That would be really nice, but I don't think we're going to get that from Scopely. Right here we have 160, 70, 80, 90% mitigation. Now, I've tested this with the Borg probes, and I found that Jayla in the captain spot with synergy and using Chen for mitigation does better than using Picard, Data, and Chen. What we've not figured out is how well this will do against Borg probes. So we're going to take a look at that next. And I'll see you in just a moment. Alright, we now have our crew on Dartalios. This area here for Borg probes. You have different sizes of material here. 15.18K. Let's see what this one yields. Currently empty. This is our first hit here. We did say 15.81, right? It said 44,000. How would you rather get 44,000 than 15.1? Oh, there's a 14.16. 15.16. We got 4404 here. $88.01. That's 44,000 per hit. That's a pretty decent amount there. 15.9. Now then the question becomes, how much are we losing due to mitigation? We're already down probably about 15 to 20% on our hull here. 14.4. When I tested this earlier, I used Chen for mitigation because I had a feeling we'd take a pretty good beating. Certainly we're not going to run out of cargo space before we get killed here. I found that using Borg Jayla with 7 of 11 for mitigation outperformed Picard and Data for loot when you had Chen in the third spot for additional damage control. Right now I've got no mitigation benefit from the crew. We're going to see how we do. I ended up killing about 25 of these with Picard and Data, and I killed just a little over 30 of them, 32, 33, using Borg Jayla. And I ended up with more loot using Borg Jayla as captain than I did with Picard in the captain's chair. So we're going to sit here, and we're already down about the last 25% of hull health here. And we got about 400,000 in loot right now. And again, because the tokens to get into this space are of a limited quantity, you want to try and maximize your presence here, get as much loot out of the system as you can. I suppose I'd probably do more efficiently if I look for the fattest ships. They're the 15.9. That's pretty nice. But you got a bunch that are like 14.1. You got 13.9. That's the 15.9. The highest I've seen is like 16K. the 15 too, but we're almost dead here. And we are dead. Just for laughs, let's see how many ships we killed. Not very many. There's one, two, three, four, five, six, 7, 8, 9. 10, 11, 12. That's half as many as I was able to kill when I had Borg. I had Jayla in there. Chen. If I had Chen in there with Picard and Data, I could double that right there. I would have double the amount of kills. Go back that real fast. I remember I had 600,000 loot. This time I got 530,000, so I did pretty good on the loot. By putting these three together, I did pretty good on loot. I didn't do quite as well as I did having Chen in this spot right here. So I had like 600 some thousand loot when I had Chen here, and I had to kill twice as many probes. Then when I went with the Jayla, I wonder if those reports are still on here. They'd probably already gone by now. Nope. Here they are right here. Here we go. Here was the crew. We had this much. We had 812K of loot right here. We had 812K of loot. We had Borg Jayla. And here's the funniest part. 800K was with a mistake. As I didn't recall, where's my crew at? I didn't have. I had Odo down below, but I didn't have Galinar, so I didn't get the extra 10%. So I had sacrificed the 10%, and I still did better with that crew than I did with the 3 root officers. Now if I come down here, where are we at? This is where we did with Picard, Data, and Chen. 766. Let's see, here's where we lost with Data in them. Yeah, there's where we got beaten by them. And where was that at? All right, where okay, so here we started hitting the probes. We got 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, and then we lost. For the Borg Jayla as captain, we had 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 33. And we ended up with more loot. And again, both of these involved either having Chen on the third seat with either Borg Jayla and 7 of 11, or Picard and Data. Picard and Data yielded about 766, or about 667,000 loot, or 766, I forget which already. We had less loot with the Picard Data combination and Chen than we did with Borg Jayla 7 and Chen. And certainly a lot better than we did with the 3 of them and no Chen at all. So that's how that worked out. Now, here's going to be the fun part. After we repair again, we're going to go see how we do against the Actian hostiles and see how well we do as far as our venom drops. See you in a moment. All right, now we're back. We now have the Mantis over here in Actian space. As you can see, we have Chrysalis, we have Apex. we're going to look around first. We're going to see if we can find somebody with a little bit of extra crit damage or crit chance. And apparently they were stingy tonight. Oh, one extra shot. That's the problem with these things. If you go through here and just blow up all the ones that have got the buffs to them, eventually you run out and nothing here has a buff to it. There's 50% damage. That's the only one that seems to have an icon that works. Percent critical damage. What, no crit chance at all? Good grief. Alright. Fortunately, I'm strong enough with this that I don't need the crit chance. Let's take a look here. 3011. I'm currently empty. We got the Mantis here. We hit attack. 3011, we said. 3011. What do we have down here? 10,048. 10,048. Hold on, let me make one quick detail here. All right. Now, because I don't have a whole lot of cargo space, maximizing cargo space for trips out here is a major issue. Right now, I've got 114,000 in total cargo space available. I'm up to 20,095. And while we're here, let me show you something real quick. You'll notice that I've got a red arrow down here. That supposedly means that I've got a disadvantage against this interceptor because of the battle triangle. However, you're going to find something unusual about these particular Actian Apex I'm about to show you here. It looks like I've got a disadvantage, but yet I seem to handle them pretty easily. And the reason for that is because when you look at the Apex, you look at its information here, normally the Apex or the interceptors in general have, for their defensive mechanisms, a high level of dodge. Here's the dodge, 554.9k. Shield deflection is 922. Shield deflection. Interceptors don't normally have shield deflection. Explorers do. Case in point, we scan this, it's an explorer. There's the little explorer icon. Come over here. We look at its defenses. Shield deflection. Just a little bit less than, actually it's got less than the Apex did, which is bizarre. The Apex isn't supposed to have shield deflection if it's an interceptor. It's supposed to have dodge. In fact, I can show you right here. As soon as I get a ship record back into place. But it's supposed to have dodge for its defensive mechanism. Its attack mechanism is also false. Normally, an interceptor is designed to go against battleships. It's supposed to have hull piercing as its primary attack mitigation. But in this case here, armor piercing, 14k, shield piercing, accuracy. Accuracy is an explorer characteristic. 14, 29k. Accuracy is a characteristic associated with explorers. In fact, here we go. Here's an explorer. I don't need to move it. The attack. Accuracy. It's an explorer. The Actian Apex look like they're labeled as interceptors, and that's how they're labeled. However, they don't fight like interceptors, they fight like explorers. So if you were to put an officer like, I think it was Kang, or is it Marcus? Marcus. If you're looking for shield piercing, you want Marcus. You don't want Kang in there for accuracy. Now, whether or not this works for officers that are specifically targeting interceptors, I don't know. I haven't bothered to explore that feature out. But we do, because I don't normally bother to worry about the specific targeting of explorers necessarily. I'm doing these anyway, but both the obvious chrysalis and the apex are all fighting like explorers, and therefore your battleship, which is the Mantis, has no issues dealing with these particular hostiles. Because even though it looks like it should have a disadvantage, it does not. It looks like it's supposed to have a disadvantage based on the battle triangle, but it doesn't. Now, was this a feature that was deliberately hidden by Scopely, or did they screw something up and make a mistake and mislabel the apex? Well, given what we know about Scopely, the second possibility is definitely a possibility. However, it's entirely possible that they decided to hide this and left it as an Easter egg for us to find later. Well, I just cracked open that Easter egg and showed you that these things here are not actually interceptors for all intents and purposes. How are we doing as far as our loot? All right, we're up to a little more than half our tank full. You'll notice I haven't used a single combat buff for this. I don't have the extra shot, I don't have the extra crit damage, I don't have the extra crit chance. My Mantis is currently, what is my Mantis? It's currently a tier 6, tier 7, it's a level 30. So it's pretty strong Mantis for these 39s. So we have no issues dealing with these things. Again, I'll run out of cargo space before I'll run out of hull health here. So I'm not worried about hull health. I'm not worried about mitigation. I don't need to worry about how much damage I'm taking. I can repair by the time I'm full of materials. In fact, I'll get destroyed before I actually run out of hull, before I run out of cargo space. I'll get destroyed long after I run out. I'll run out of cargo space before I get destroyed. That's the bottom line. So all I gotta do is worry about filling up as much cargo as I can as quickly as I can. I don't worry about the damage mitigation. But I'm literally taking on, that's up to 88. And as soon as we hit this one, it should be around 98 or 97. $98.91. Yeah. It's about 10,000 per hit. On hostiles, I only carry about 3,000. Part of this is that if you do the math, that's actually more than the 2.79 that we came up with earlier, the 1.9%. That's because there's also research that goes into how much loot is dropped by the apex. So there's some mitigation bonuses in there as well. It's actually more, I'm actually getting more than 3 times the loot that I should be getting normally without any buffs or research at all. We're up to 109 out of 114. This will be the last shot. After this, my cargo hold will be full. I'll have to go back to base. Let's see, 3008, 9 to 14. Yeah, that's full. And if I hit recall, 8 minutes. I don't think so. I don't feel like waiting 8 minutes to recall. But there's your illustration and demonstration of Picard and data. Obviously, if you need mitigation, if you feel like you need mitigation, you don't necessarily need to run Picard data and 5 of 11. But for those cases where you don't mind giving up repairs, because repairs are cheap, you got plenty of tokens to speed it up. You got plenty of resources to do the repairs in the first place. If you've got a limited quantity of tokens to get in certain spaces, or if you've got a limited amount of resources to buy the tax from the weird species thing in the Voyager space, you obviously want to try and get the most loot you can for the amount of hull damage you're taking. Sometimes you don't need to worry about how much hull damage you're taking. In some cases, it's probably more efficient to use some mitigation as it is in the Borg space because you get more loot because you have to survive longer. Survival is the key thing in the Borg space. In the other areas, you can actually collect a good bit of material before you have to repair, and as a result, you don't really worry so much about getting so much damage. We'll go ahead and summon him home. So that's it. It's a little brief introduction to Picard, Enterprise Z Picard. Hope you enjoyed this. Hope it was informative, and I hope you learned a little bit more about these acting hostiles, how these Apex interceptors fight more like explorers. Have a good day.